Um, but then when I'm thinking about how Donald Knuth's work with tech might endure, the fact that it was frozen and put into the public domain, and the fact that Knuth developed the trip test for tech, um, these all ensure that uh, documents would not become lost. That the fact that a document written in tech back in those early days would still typeset the same uh, into the indefinite future. This is quite significant, and it was intentional as well. But I think there are some aspects of TeX architecture that have been called into question over time, and any discussion of tech really deserves to involve some of these trenchant observations about TeX architecture, and particularly as regards infix notation in math. Um, I hope I'm making sense to Nelson, because I think you were a party to those, listening at least to those conversations. And uh, this aspect of tech, LaTeX tried to get around them to essentially introduce markup language that did not use that infix notation at all. And there's part of TeX math scanner that has to go through difficult calculations in order to implement that infix notation. So this is arguably a minor aspect of uh, perhaps how the TeX architecture could be re-examined. And another aspect, though, has to do with things that could very well have changed since the last time I looked at them. So I'm ready to be corrected in this, but font information is read into TeX memory and can never be changed afterwards. This is a kind of a strange thing, but it's definitely part of TeX architecture, at least it was back when. And I remember, now you'll probably make fun of me for saying this, but I remember a conversation where someone asked Donald Knuth at some sort of seminar or presentation, what about garbage collection? And I recall Knuth's answer. He said that garbage collection was fraught and could introduce bugs into the computer code, so he did not want to have garbage collection as part of tech. And there are places where I think things were decided once and for all for tech at the implementation level that could be reconsidered. And that might be one of them. We have no way of knowing at this time what tech might be like if some of these restrictions were lifted. But finally, and I know that we've agreed on this, that text handling of color is kind of absent. And text handling of fonts and text handling of color really need to be similar to each other, in the sense that particularly the notion of what happens if you have color in a footnote and it breaks over pages. This is, to my mind, a simple example of a relatively refractory problem. And it relates to the way that color has to be supported in TeX because that support wasn't put in at a point in time when it could have been. But back in those days, we weren't doing much in the way of color typography. So once again, if we look at TeX with fresh eyes, I think there are things that we can see in it that are worth looking at. And it's not to say that these are flaws, but or the TeX is any less an achievement than it is, but they would represent sort of a new way forward. So I applaud Jonathan's desire to look into the future because you're in good company. Lamport himself wanted to look into the future of LaTeX, and I think he had great ideas, and some of them have actually kind of been implemented. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes.